Norm Winski. We're going to take a look at what's happening in the planets with Norm. Got some planetary aspects from my good friend in Naples, Florida, Norm Winski.
I'll show my screen. There we go. That's good.
Former SIBO trader, horse picker, all-around Renaissance man. One of the last, of a type of analysis that takes into account lost arts of GAN and Astro, and always interesting to have you here, Norm. Happy New Year, buddy.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. There we go. Very good. Well, thanks for having me on your show, Dale. Good morning, everyone. Okay, now can you see my notes on the screen?
Got him, buddy.
All right, very good. All right. So anyway, I haven't been on your show for quite a while. I guess it's been, what, 6-8 weeks, something like that. So I just thought I'd get everybody up to speed. And by looking at past window, change in trend window, last big events, change window, we get a little practice, and you see if there's anything to this stuff, because if I give you a forecast now, you'd have to wait several days to see how it comes out. So my last big window was right at the end of December, going into the New Year's weekend, and my top things for the month were one of my top two. I have two things that are kind of in the same category. My top planetary event, one of them is when the planets go direct or retrograde. That's if you, due to the relative motion of the Earth, you go out and look at the night sky and plot them every night, you'll notice, individually speaking, that the planets appear that they stop their motion and then reverse their direction on occasion. It's like when you're driving in your car and you're doing 60, and you look at your speedometer and it says you're doing 60. Then you look out your side window and all of a sudden you have the impression that you've stopped or you're going backwards. It's because somebody is passing you, perhaps doing 70. That's what happens. All the planets are going around the sun at different speeds. So we have relative apparent motion. If you were to look down at the solar system, they don't do that. It's because of the relative motion of the Earth to the other planets. But Einstein tells you that everything is relative, and that's important. So over the New Year's weekend, December 21 weekend, we had Uranus turn direct. That means it stopped momentarily, and then had been going backwards. That's called retrograde. And then it stopped to go forward, and that's a big deal in particular, for the stock market. Is the big basket, everything, so it responds to all these major planetary events. And also Uranus is connected to copper. So we're going to look at copper here in a moment. Now, this particular grouping of planetary phenomena called station points, and there's another grouping that's under this sort of same category too, not only has the potential to give you a change in trend in the markets, but can invert the polarity of the energy. So I don't know, I know Dale knows about this, but there's a model called the Bradley model where you quantify the different planetary events, plot them on a graph, and you can make a forecast for a market. Most of that has been done on the stock market. Don't know if it's done on any other market. Maybe one of your brilliant people there, Dale, will call me up and get some lessons and figure out how to do that on some of the currencies, But for now, we're doing it this way. So here you go. Here's your copper, and there's the 28th of December. So I was at one day off, possibly, and there's a nice top there, and then the copper pulled back more than over the past couple weeks, a little less than 2 weeks, about a little more than 10 cents. So if you're not familiar with copper, every penny in copper, a whole number, or we in the trading community, we like to say a handle, is worth $250. So there's over a $2,500 move.
Right.
So that's a lot of pennies, It's a little copper joke there. Pennies, okay. All right, there we go. And back on the stock market, S&P 500. We were coming into the end of December there, and again, Uranus was turning direct, and this is sort of thing is usually big for the stock market. And the usual pattern is that these points tend to act like magnetic poles, where the market will run up. You saw this in the last couple of days because we got something related to that happening now, and that's why I asked to come on your show, Dale. And
okay.
My phone is ringing, so just ignore that. And so we usually run up, looked like we were rallying into the weekend until we got to that Friday, and then boom, there was a big down. So that's what I call a market aversion move, and that was a clue that things may not be running on the usual pattern and running on the alternate pattern. And I told my clients, watch out, if we take out these highs for the month, that could lead to a big acceleration. And that's what happened when we came back on, I think, Tuesday, Wednesday. We took out these highs, and then boom, went into the rocket mode. You might have noticed that the stock market has been accelerated to the upside. You see the angle before this thing increased its angle of ascent after New Year's. Okay, so that's another point. That's why I call these.
Looks like Bitcoin.
Well, it may be, yeah. And I don't know what you think, Dale. I think the whole Bitcoin crypto thing is a big bubble.
Okay.
You don't?
Oh, I really can't wrap my head around it.
Okay.
I don't want the technical.
I like to joke the Bitcoin bubble is like the tulip bulb bubble without the tulips.
Yeah, I kind of equate crypto to what happened with .com stocks in 2000. And, there were tremendous waves and then a tremendous crash. But out of that came, the stalwarts. So if crypto crashes, that's when I'd be taking a look at it. So here we are on the 12th. You have this as a major potential reversal point in the stock market, Norm?
Right. This is a big cluster weekend for lots of big energy for a change in trend. One of the things we have is I do what's called a natal chart. That's where you take a snapshot of the planet's particular moment, like when you were born, Dale, or when a country was founded, like the USA on July the 4th, 1776. And we take a snapshot of the planets, and then we look at the planets now in relation to those planets. And when they get harmonic points, then if we get enough of those, then it's something to be pay attention to.
Okay.
Right. So over this weekend, we have a big point to the U.S. chart, and that implies watch for a change in trend in your U.S. financials, which is U.S. stocks, T-bonds, and U.S. dollar, with an emphasis on the U.S. dollar. I think you'll like that, Dale. So I just looked at the dollar index.
We've been heading down all year, all last year, and we're approaching recent lows on the dollar. So you're looking for a reversal in the dollar where there might be
I'm looking for a trend. I'm looking for a change in trend, which means 70-80% of the time that would be a reversal, like I showed you on the S&P chart. Though occasionally you get acceleration, so we don't hold these levels right where we're at right now. I think I had when I did my letter back in the first, over the New Year's weekend, I had the 91.50 level as a support level on the dollar index, and it was holding until today, until this morning. Looks like it got down to about 91.40 now. So it's just a little one toe over the line.
Yes. Okay.
So anyway, I have a theme here for the U.S. Financials, and with an extra emphasis on the dollar. So, and then we also have, here's my other thing. I told you about station points. In that category, another way we get a planetary polarity point is when the planets, when they're going around the sun, they act like horses on a carousel, and they not only do they go round and round, but they also go up and down. When they get to that midpoint and they're up and down, that's called zero latitude, and that seems to be a very powerful energy point, and that often can invert the energy, from positive to negative or negative to positive, and that's also happening over this weekend. So that's particularly relevant to the stock market. Tends to do that sort of thing. If you ever looked at the Bradley model, the people who over the years have tried to follow the Bradley model are frustrated, to say the least. That the Bradley model works for a while, and then boom, all of a sudden it looks like it flips upside down. We'll be talking about that more in a few minutes. And I think I've made a major advancement to fix that. So we'll be looking at that in just a few minutes. So anyway, we got this big cluster here. And then on previous shows, Dale, I've been on your show before and showed how the new moon or full moon can often change trend for your currencies. So you want to pay attention to that. We got one coming up on Tuesday night. Monday is a holiday here in the U.S. market holiday. And so you want to watch your financials, your grains, precious metals, and coffee. And, the currencies fall under the financials umbrella. Now for the stock market, I have some interesting change in trend points coming up here starting yesterday. Yesterday was the 11th, which was the 45th anniversary of the high in January 11th, 1973.
Were you trading then? I was still in the dorm in college. Were you trading?
I was not in a dorm. I think by 73, I had my own apartment. Okay. And I was invested. I was making money in the ensuing time there. I don't say, I was invested in the market then.
Those were good old days, huh? You had your own apartments. Women were all over you, right?
Not really.
All right, buddy. So also an anniversary of the internet bubble top there too, huh?
I guess for the Dow maybe, but all the other major indices topped in March. Oh yeah, well they're right here.
Yeah.
You're right. Well, it's not an anniversary; it's a mathematical harmonic.
Oh, see, okay.
We have
what's
Gann said Mr. Gann, W.D. Gann, if you're not familiar, he's probably the greatest technician of the 20th century. Said that the markets are musical, so you should go look at the mathematics of music. That's what I do. I happen to grow up playing an instrument and has a little bit of a musical background. So anyway, this is one of the numbers, musical harmonic numbers, 6,502 days from the March 24th, 2000 internet bubble top for the S&P. That was the day the S&P topped in the 2000. So anyway, I was about to tell you about the 45th anniversary back there in 73. Here's a funny story. So President Nixon, the Dow, I got to back up a moment. The Dow Jones, the 1,000 was the magic. It was a big barrier for the Dow Jones for an entire generation.
Yeah, 20-year range. 1,000 to 600 or something like that. Right.
Well, actually, 570 in early December of 74. But I'm getting to that. So anyway, it first kissed there on February the 9th, 1966. And from that point on, it would get up there, get close, and then run away. And until we got to we had a bit of a bull rally there in 71, 72 into early 73. And the Dow actually managed to get over 1,000 to make headlines. President Nixon was having his birthday on the 9th of January and held a press conference for his birthday. One of the reporters, being the good sheep that they are, noticed the headlines and asked the president, Mr. President, I noticed the Dow Jones is making new highs, broken out over 1,000. What do you think about the economy and the stock market? And President Nixon said, if I weren't president, I'd be buying stocks. All Americans should buy stocks. Okay?
You see any analogies between that and what's happening today?
Well, let me finish the story. Okay. So what happened after President Nixon told all Americans to go buy stocks? 2 days later, the market topped out, and we went into the worst bear market since the 30s. So the lesson here is in math psychology that there are certain people walking around in the world here that are perfect reverse barometers. If you were on the trading floor today, you might have seen some people that were reverse barometers. I remember some folks on my trading floor that were, and you made sure if they came into your trading crowd, make sure you got on the other side of their trades because you were probably going to make money. These people actually had a higher batting average of being wrong than the best traders I've ever known being right. So anyway, there's a little lesson there in math psychology. Yeah. Hopefully you were amused by my impression of President Nixon.
It was pretty good.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Oh, that's
and you are not a crook either.
I am no crook. All right, S&P. We got what I do is I look at some major turning points in the past for the S&P and do the astrological analysis of that, and then look at the planets now and see if we have any big harmonic clusters for that. And we have one of those coming up on Tuesday the 16th. And then I do Fibonacci time cycles. When we get all done here and you learn how to get a hold of me and get my free class, you'll learn advanced Fibonacci and how we can use that for time. And so we have today, the 12th, and also Tuesday, Wednesday of next week. And then we also have a big astro cluster for right about now over the weekend and into the Tuesday the 16th. Speaking of time, let me give you a major principle here that's going to make all your lives much easier. One of the things that Gann taught was that time is more important than price. My variation on that is that the key times will give you the key prices. So you don't have to play the predict the price game in advance. You wait till you're in the key time window and the market will tell you where it's going to make a high or make a low. You then draw a simple trend line across the tops or the bottoms there. And if you add a little bit, a day or two, a couple of days later, if you're taking out those levels, you got the old S&P like this here, the acceleration mode. And if not, going back to the copper here, you have the classic reversal pattern, and you put in a high or a low. So it's very simple. You don't have to tear your hair out trying to figure out what price the market is going to turn in a week or a month from now. You know, just let the market tell you at the key times. You have to have these cycles though to tell you what the right time is. Now I have access. I feel blessed in knowing that I believe I have access to the biggest computer that anybody has. It's called the solar system, which does all these computations for me. So I don't know, you know, I think this is probably better than all the computers and all the PhDs piled up in Wall Street, you know. So I'm going to move ahead now and show you my version of the Bradley model. Now, if you add it up for we're talking stock market now, this is December's results. They're starting on the 4th of December, and we're going through the 29th of December. If you add it up doing the standard way that Bradley does it, you would have added up the planetary energy. You would have had a blue line that went pretty much all down at a 45-degree angle all month. And you only would have been right for a short amount of time here in December. The black bar is the Dow Jones Industrial Average. But what I do is I then take the original forecast and I adjust it based on these polarity points when the planets can reverse the polarity. So you can see here's Mercury turning retrograde right there over that week in December one weekend, by the way. That was a nice top, short-term top there. Then we went down to when Mercury got to 0 north latitude and we made a low. And then I invert the line, the blue line going up. The blue line is the forecast line. And then we went up all the way till when Venus got to 0 latitude, and then we made a top, had a shallow little pullback there, and the Mercury going direct. And then we went up till right around when Uranus turned direct at the end of the month. So that's a major, in my opinion, this is a method is a major advancement for that forecasting model. You know, whichever side. I know some major financial astrologers, big name financial astrologers, who've actually given up on the Bradley model because they don't know about this.
Arch Crawford.
All right, now we're going to. What's that again?
Has Arch Crawford given up on it? He made it.
I don't know. I'm not going to name any names. Okay.
All right, Larry Pesavento.
Nope.
All right.
Anyway, not going to name any names.
Dale,
you know, like they used to say on the old.
Dale Pinkert is giving up on the Bradley.
Dale, like they used to say on the old Dragnet TV show, the names have been changed to protect the innocent. Right? Bum, remember that?
Yeah.
There's your Dragnet music. You know,
Welcome, Norm.
What's that? All right, so we're going to fractal land. I don't know if any of your folks know about fractals or not. Any of your people been on your show talking about fractals?
Yes.
Okay, well, fractals are simple. For those who don't know, here's the simple concept. If you've ever seen a pine tree, that's a fractal item. And the branches of the pine tree look like miniature pine trees. And that's Elliott wave is a fractal system. You have waves within waves. You just had an Elliott wave guy on, I think. You have waves within waves and so forth. So the whole concept of a fractal is that you can take a piece of something and extrapolate out what the bigger thing is going to be. Okay, we used to have one of my all-time favorite game shows on TV was a show called Name That Tune. And Name That Tune, they would give you a few notes. If you recognize the pattern, you may know the whole song, all right? That's what everybody knows.
Good metaphors, Norm.
Thank you. That's what that's what everybody in this business is trying to do, whether they realize it or not. You get a few clues, and if you recognize the pattern of those clues, then you might be able to extrapolate out the coming pattern, you see. So anyway, so I got onto that in the early 80s. I stumbled on the old Wall Street adage, as January goes, so goes the year. So I started doing that for the stock market. And then many years later, I got the idea, gee, I wonder if this worked for any other market. And guess what? It does. We live in a fractal universe, is my conclusion. So here you go. Just for example, we got to sprinkle in here a little commodity biz, right? In that all currencies. So, you know, this morning, you folks might want a little coffee. And so now I fractalize the coffee market. These are the results from last year, 2017. And I take the price action in January, extrapolate it out for the year. So there you go. The blue bars were the forecast. And then after the fact, at the end of the year, I overlay the actual prices. And you can see that worked pretty well. Now here's another thing that happens here. You're going to say, oh, it did work there. The train went off the tracks right about the 26th, late September. And I'm going to show you, well, it's not a total wipeout because watch. When I take, can you see my hand there on the chart?
I can.
Great. So if we go straight up from that little low there and go straight up, we're pretty close to that top right there. So the lesson here is that sometimes the direction will invert on you, but then the timing is often still good. Okay, so there's your coffee. Here's copper. Copper, I showed copper because copper's been one of my perennial winners. It's been worked very well for the last several years in a row. I have another one like that, which you will get very excited about in a minute. Okay, so anyway, this is, by the way, doing this is so simple. I believe that I could teach a 10-year-old to do this in 10 minutes. And it's probably better than any Wall Street forecasting model with their billions of dollars of computers and PhDs. You don't have to be smart to do this, you know. Don't have to be smarter than a fifth grader, that's for sure.
I've seen Norm hit a lot of turning points. So, okay, here we got fractal on.
Here you got fractalized euro taking the January price action. You can see that's worked out pretty well.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Got near the high of the year here. Had a nice little, as we went along, it got better and better. So by the end of the year here, you're right there, and then to pull back there and up there, it's like some of the older folks might remember Fred and Ginger dancing, and there you go, the Fred and Ginger dancing together, you know.
No one in here remembers that.
Nobody in there, all right. All right, well, just for reference, Fred
you could go to Turner Classic Movies and check it out.
Yeah, Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers were major movie stars that famous for dancing musical movies where they would dance together.
People barely know who Elvis Presley was anymore. All right, buddy.
Oh my God. Yep.
Now we have the yen.
Yes, sir. The yen has also been a perennial winner in these models here. Works very well every year, the last several years. And there you go. It's pretty good, right?
Yes.
I think if we go with that right there, it lines up pretty well with that top there. Okay, look at that, how it goes up and then goes down. All right. Now we're going to move ahead, and just in case any folks out there are interested in day trading, I think one of the best day trading vehicles are the S&P 500, S&P E-mini futures. And I'm going to show you here a very simple demo here of what you might be able to do with this stuff. Once you learn, take my free class, and it takes me about 20 minutes to teach the folks how to get tuned into this stuff and start doing it.
When's your next free class scheduled?
Probably in February. Now we're getting kind of late in January, you know.
Okay.
But the deal is, you know, I only have about a handful of people that I can help every month. So call me right away, so you know, you're not in the back of the line, or I don't have to bump you to the next month, you know. All right, so here we go. Here we have something that, you know, this is not a big cycle. This is just a little cycle. The moon zips around the Earth. It's the fastest body I track, and they make lots of key angular relationships almost every day, all day long. So anyway, we had here, this is a very simple day. When from a point of view of the Earth, we only had one important, what we call aspect angular relationship between a moon and a planet. That occurred at 2:40 p.m. Eastern Time on January 10th. And look what happened. The market had a pullback right to 240. You can see the data box there. That was the low to the minute. And then we rallied 6 handles into the close. If you're not familiar with S&P 500, E-minis, each whole number is worth $50. And so 6 handles is $300. And then incidentally, this rally continued big time. Over the last day or so. This morning we got up to, let's see, 44. We're 30 handles higher now, you know. So that's 30 handles. It'd be $1,500. That's that's like real money, you know. All right. Anyway, so there we go. So we got some interesting stuff here and different methods. And here's my numbers for 2017 because it's we're now in January. I can show you these. And I got all these markets I track, and most of them were very good. I only have 2 that were less than 50%. Most of them are much better than that. And then the overall average was 70.88% for my signals presenting, offering you a opportunity to make some money. Okay.
100% in Aussie. Nice.
There you go. Yep. Only had 2 signals there. But yep, 100%, 2 out of 0.
Mm-hmm.
British pound was 5 out of 6. That's pretty good too.
Yeah.
And you can maybe
your overall hit rates, that's excellent.
Yep. Well, thank you. All right, so you might want to find out more about this and get your free letter and your free class. And I'm here, as Dale quickly alluded earlier. I've been doing this a long, long time. I started looking at studying the stock market when I was 15 years old. I'm 66 now. And I was investing in college and making money in the great bear market of 73, 74. As a result of that, I made enough money to, I ended up, after making my first big hit, actually because of my background in the family, it was in the scrap business. I ended up, knew quite a bit about the copper mining and so forth. And my first trade was buying a copper mining company, and I made money on that when everybody else was losing in the big bear market of 73, 74. Took that money and started doing some things in the new option market when the CBOE opened their doors. And that led to my further investigating as a college student, and ended up buying us a membership there in the new fledgling exchange in early 75. I was on the floor there for 12 years. I also traded on the Chicago Board of Trade. CBOE was a child of the Board of Trade. So anyway, so I got a little bit of experience, and then I got to Chicago and started studying astrology in college. Went to school in Indiana where I grew up. And then I got to Chicago, and then it was even better because they had lots more books and lots of people to network with. And I learned GAN and all cycles and Fibonacci and all the different stuff, you know. So you can get a hold of me. I'm in sunny Florida. Most of the time it's sunny here. And beautiful Naples. And there's my phone number, 239-594-3939. There's my email, Winski, N-W-I-N-S-K-I, at embark, EMBARQMAIL.com. And there's my Skype handle. You can call me on Skype at norm.winski, NORM.WINSKI. You get if you qualify for the free letter and free class. It's an individualized class, one-to-one on Skype, and usually do about 5 or 6 hours, and kind of take you to Traders College. You get a whole Traders College education in about 5 or 6 hours. You're going to learn some Astro, some advanced Fibonacci, some GAN, how do you put the Fibonacci and the GAN all together, and also fractals, and also how to day trade this stuff too.
So Norm, I want to thank you for being here. I encourage people to contact Norm. This is rapidly becoming a lost art. And if you want to learn about this, you couldn't find a better guy to learn about this methodology, multiple methodologies that are quite esoteric, but Norm is a natural teacher. So, I hope you have a great 2018. I know I'm going to see you in a month or so again, Norm. Thanks again for dropping in, and congratulations on your hit rate for 2017.
Well, thank you very much. And by the way, the stock market had a big, followed up with yesterday, big rally yesterday. And overnight here, we went and hit you're being getting my updates, Dale. So, yeah, I was looking for about 27, 74, 77 area on the S&P, and on the futures, we basically got to that window overnight. And then it gave back some of it this morning. So hopefully we can get the S&P cash to get back there too, and then we'll be getting set up for maybe a nice trading top here,
Okay, buddy. Good hunting.
All right, thanks a lot. Happy New Year. Looking forward to helping some of your folks,
Okay, there's Norm's number. Take a screenshot. There's his email. There's his Skype. And thank you everyone in F.A.C.E for another great week. We'll be closed Monday for the holiday. See everyone Tuesday. Remember, don't just count your pips, count your blessings. Have a great weekend, everyone. Don't forget, sign up for the letter. The offer will be gone on Monday. Adios. See you, Norm. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, can I talk to you in a minute on Skype? I'll get back to you on Skype, okay?
Okay, sure.
Thank you.